been a while since we've done this. We got to work out the kinks.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I was thinking of like a joke I could make with the band, but I wasn't fast enough.
Yeah, it crossed my mind, but I didn't have anywhere to go with it, and thought I could have just gotten really messy and unpleasant.
Like this did.
Yeah. Anyhow, want to talk about Doctor Who and other things?
Yes.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is the Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
So, are you all caught up on Torchwood?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, so remember how it was my idea that before we started Doctor Who Series 6.5, we should do an episode where we talked about Torchwood?
Yes.
Well, you remember that?
Yeah. No, I remember it.
Okay, good. That's why you're here. So I just finished episode 3 of the season. Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I'm so far behind, I started watching with episode 1, and I watched it the day it went out. And I'm talking about episode 1 of Miracle Day, aka Series 4, aka Season 1 of the American version, whatever you want to call it. But I started watching that, and I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I didn't think it was anywhere near as good as Children of Earth. But I liked it. And then the next weekend, when Torchwood episode 2 of the current season was going to be on, I happened to be out of town for 5 days at a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was at a thing.
Okay.
I sound like it's really suspicious now. It wasn't until I refused to describe it. I was I was hanging out with some friends in Maryland, and I didn't have the opportunity to watch it until I got back. And by the time I got back, I was seeing on my Twitter feed that a lot of people were talking about how much they disliked it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, particularly the Doctor Who fans and podcasters that I follow.
Huh.
So that sort of made me less enthusiastic to watch it. And so instead, I watched the episode of Breaking Bad that I had missed. And so I just sort of put Torchwood from my mind, and then as the weeks went on, I kept continuing to hear that people disliked it. But so I only just watched episodes 2 and 3 over the past 2 days, and I my opinion hasn't changed since episode 1. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm not crazy about it.
Well, you're probably right to not be to have not lost your sanity over it.
Okay, good to know.
I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I would agree that it is not as good as Children of Earth. At least not so far. But I wouldn't say that I dislike. I just find it hard to believe that people dislike it. Well, I don't find it hard to believe, but I don't see where they are coming from, because I'm enjoying it. I guess. I honestly don't remember what just happened at the end of the 3rd episode, so I really don't want to say too much.
Oh, okay. Well, so as of the end of the 3rd episode, there's just been this press conference where this pharmaceutical company, Phi-Corp, is it?
Yeah, Phi-Corp.
Phi-Corp has announced that they're going to try to push through legislation to make all drugs available without prescriptions.
Yes.
And it's still not entirely clear how the pieces fit together, but Jack has just confronted Oswald Danes about things, and Oswald Danes is like, beat him up. And he calls him some people that awkwardly tells him in his way to beat him up. I really I really enjoy that performance.
Yeah, I do too. He's very good at being creepy and, well, pretty much just creepy.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, I do enjoy that. I think that, yeah, actually, yeah, wow, I really don't remember at all where. This is strange because I don't remember what happens when.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, I know that I remember that thing happening, but I don't remember. I certainly remember what's happened in the last episode, but obviously we can't talk about that.
Sorry.
But I mean, like, I like the sort of. I mean, see, I don't know if my opinion really carries all that much weight because I haven't seen the first 2 seasons of Torchwood.
I don't think that matters because, I mean, based on my understanding of what's going on, the first 2 seasons of Torchwood are by now completely irrelevant.
Okay, well, that's good, I guess.
And, you know, no one really likes them. No, I'm kidding. They have a lot of very vocal fans, and I was sort of okay with them. I kind of enjoyed them, and I enjoy this maybe a little bit more than I enjoyed those.
Okay.
But yeah, and you know, to be honest, I couldn't tell you any of the really specific complaints that people have about this because I've avoided spoilers to whatever extent I can. I know people tend to say that it spends too much time sort of exploring the consequences of the miracle and not enough time advancing some kind of plot. And I've already started to get somewhat of a sense of that.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like how much time they're spending exploring the consequences, because I think the consequences are really fascinating. Because you'd think, because I don't know, maybe because I like this idea that, you know, something that sounds really good, like people stop dying, like that sounds on the surface to be really good, but then it's not. And I like how they're sort of explored. Like, I don't know if, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but I mean, I do like all of the things on like the microscopic level that they talk about and things like that. And I think it's cool that they've at least thought this. I guess, you know, because I sort of complain about, or I'm never really quite happy with sci-fi that doesn't really think things through, I guess. And it seems to me that they've really thought this through.
I agree. I do like that. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of what they want out of sci-fi, they want very good explanations for how the premise is possible. I'm sort of the other way around. I want very good explanations of, or explorations rather, of the consequences of the premise. Right. I really enjoy the way, even so far, there have been several moments where I'm like, oh, you know, I never thought of that.
Right. Yeah, I got that too. Where it's just, you know, because they just approach it from so many different angles, and it seems to me like it's a really well thought out and well-rounded out concept and idea. And I like that. I appreciate that. Now, I might, you know, it seems, well, from having watched the most recent episode, I think they're starting to spend less time focusing on that, and I think that's like a good thing. I mean, like because they certainly have spent enough time establishing all the different problems that people not dying causes, and so I think they can sort of lay off it a bit. And actually, I do think. Actually, how many episodes is this supposed to be?
It's going to be 10 episodes.
Okay, and we just the 6th episode just aired?
I believe the most recent one was the 7th or 8th.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think that at this point they can sort of stop exploring the consequences and start focusing on the story, which feels to me like what they're doing.
And, come to think of it, I do believe that in response to this most recent episode, I heard a lot more positivity than I had before.
I suppose that I would have liked to have gotten to the more plot stuff earlier. Like, I think that having seen I don't know.
I don't know. I don't like any of the new characters.
Really?
It's not so much that I dislike them, it's just I don't really care about them. They all seem like generic Hollywood characters that would be in a movie about CIA conspiracy thingy. Like none of them stand out to me as being particularly interesting.
Yeah.
Well, no, the exception is actually Oswald Danes.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a like I said, I enjoy that performance a lot, and I think that's an interesting perspective that you couldn't have a character like that on a network television show.
Right.
Like I remember this some form of Torchwood was originally pitched to Fox, and I can't imagine anything like that character being anywhere near Fox.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to defend the other characters because I sort of agree they're not really anything special. Yeah, I can't really think of... They're kind of just there.
And I hate the American and UK culture divide stuff. It gets kind of annoying for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of... Yeah, I feel like maybe if I were someone who had never seen British television ever before, I might find it amusing, but that would be... But that is not me.
And I think they're quite possibly hoping that such people are watching.
Yeah, I imagine.
And maybe they are.
Maybe.
I believe it's their hope to have this be the beginning of something that will continue for longer. Like, not necessarily this plot, but
right.
to have Torchwood as a BBC Starz collaboration going forward. And do you think that makes sense from what you've seen?
What do you mean? Do I think it makes... What do you... I mean, makes sense.
Well, do you think that that they're doing...
Oh, you mean
doing a good job of setting up not just this story, but also like the potential for future stories? Like they're building something that could continue. I feel like I'm interviewing you.
Yes, well, I am the resident, most recent Torchwood episode expert. So
that's true.
I mean, sort of. I guess. I mean, I think if they were gonna keep, if they're gonna ditch the CIA characters, then sure. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't see this as being. I think it could possibly be setting it up for that, but I don't know. I don't know. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, this is our first episode back after a long, unexplained, extended absence. I'm sure our loyal listeners are going to love this. But one of the things that really struck me about the first episode and continues to strike me is that, unlike previous iterations of Torchwood, I don't really get the sense that this is happening in the same world as Doctor Who.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, it certainly seems like this is kind of... I mean, I know the Doctor can't always be there. I mean, that's like the premise of Torchwood. But this seems like a big thing. And, like, I feel like this would be something... I don't know. It just seems to me like this is kind of a big thing.
Like, as far as I can tell, no one's mentioned UNIT.
Oh, that's true.
The fact that they exist. And they've always been, if not if not active participants in Torchwood, then often at least mentioned as to what Unit's take on the situation is. Maybe they're hacking into Unit's files. Maybe Unit's telling them they shouldn't be doing something they're doing.
Right.
And then you'll often have Jack mentioning the Doctor, or at least obliquely, but I haven't heard anything of that nature.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he does bring up the Doctor in...
Oh, really?
Yes. In, I think, this most recent episode. But it's just like a passing mention.
Is it like done in such a way that you could interpret it to mean just a doctor?
I didn't... I think I'd have to go back and listen to it again. I'm pretty sure it was clearly an alien that he was talking about. But maybe it could be a physician. Maybe.
Because there's a moment in Children of Earth where Jack is explaining to someone that he can't die. I don't remember who he's explaining this to. But this person's like, wow, so you can never die. And then Jack says, that's what the Doctor said. And that could be anything.
Right.
We happen to know what it means, but if you were utterly unfamiliar with Doctor Who, that wouldn't register as an odd thing, or you wouldn't be like, this Doctor figure sounds like some sort of fire and ice and rage and the storm in the heart of the sun type fellow.
Yeah. Right. I'm pretty sure this reference was a little bit more clearly a person that is significant. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I think Jack was like, yeah, there's this guy I know, he's called the Doctor. So I think it's pretty clearly not just a physician. I don't know.
Because this is something, I forget who it was. I think it was Chip of the 2 Minute Time Lord podcast mentioned in an episode eons ago. And he compared it to, I don't know if you're familiar with, or at all aware of the character of Bernice Summerfield.
Nope.
Bernice Summerfield is a companion who never appeared on televised Doctor Who, but was created by Paul Cornell, who has since written for Doctor Who. Created by Paul Cornell for the New Adventures novels. And she traveled with the 7th Doctor and briefly the 8th Doctor, I think. But then the company that makes the New Adventures novels, or made them rather, this is the 90s, Virgin Publishing, they lost the rights to the Doctor because BBC Books decided they wanted to publish their own novels going forward, but they still retain the rights to that character, Bernice Summerfield, so they published their own Bernice Summerfield books, which were ostensibly in continuity with the previous books, but didn't have any mention of the Doctor, and only sort of had oblique references. I haven't read the book, so maybe someone will criticize me and say I'm wrong, and they do mention the Doctor, or have somewhat more specific references, but they just sort of, it's clear that she has had these experiences where she's traveled in time, and space as well, and that it's clear that that's part of her background, but the exact nature of those adventures is left unexplained. And that's sort of what it seems to me like Torchwood is now. If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. That's kind of interesting, and I would say that's kind of the sense I get. I mean, it doesn't really... It does seem to be trying to remove itself from kind of the Doctor Who universe.
I don't know that I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like... I dislike that just because, I mean, obviously, I imagine that a majority of people who watch Torchwood now started watching Torchwood because of Doctor Who. I imagine that very few people watch Torchwood like, hey, I found this great show, it's called Torchwood.
I don't think you're right about that,
really? Actually.
I think if you were saying that in the UK, you'd be correct.
Okay.
But you're not.
You're right.
You're not saying that in the UK. No, in the US, Torchwood was, at first, a lot more popular than the David Tennant version of Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that was.
Huh.
I'm sure someone has a better idea than I do, but I think now Doctor Who with Matt Smith is more popular in America than the current iteration of Torchwood, mostly because its Stars is a much less accessible channel than BBC America is. That's probably a major part of the reason.
Right. Huh. So I don't know. I don't know. Well, maybe it was more popular because it starred an American.
That's probably partially true, at least. And also, I think it was airing on BBC America, whereas Doctor Who was airing on Sci-Fi, and BBC America was promoting Torchwood more heavily than Sci-Fi was promoting Doctor Who.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and at the time, I did know of people who watched Torchwood and weren't aware of what Doctor Who was, and any reference to the Doctor, they just sort of glossed over in their brain or something.
It was like the silence.
Exactly.
But yeah, wow. I just think that's so weird, though. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I just feel like, how could you? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. I guess I'm just completely narrow-minded. But I just feel like
Well, the 21st century is where it all changes. I said as though it were relevant. But yeah, I mean,
it just seems so weird to me. I guess I don't know. I just don't.
I wonder whether we'll ever see Jack on Doctor Who again.
I'd kind of like that. I kind of wish they would. But I mean, yeah.
I think it would be fun.
It would. I mean, like, just have him check in.
Yeah.
Just be like,
just come in for a checkup.
Yeah, exactly.
With the doctor.
Yeah, wow.
In Torchwood, he could say, "Oh, I got to go visit the doctor," and people would think nothing of it.
No,
they'd think, "Oh, you must have an appointment." But this doctor makes house calls, or something. I don't know. They'll show up in your house with a blue box, especially if you're lesbian Silurian. He totally could have. The 11th Doctor totally could have gone and visited Jack in A Good Man Goes to War.
He totally could have, yeah. Maybe Jack was just busy with Miracle Day.
Oh, good point.
Does that happen? Well, how would that? No, that wouldn't work.
That doesn't make any sense because of time travel.
I know that now.
You didn't know before. Are you excited about getting more Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, why? Are you not?
I'm kidding. Of course I'm excited.
Okay. Well, good.
It's Doctor Who.
You had me worried for a minute there.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't really been keeping up with trailers and things like that.
Actually, I've watched maybe one or two. I was watching something on BBC America the other day, and the trailer, or like a commercial came on. And it occurred to me that it had a lot of clips that were in the original Coming Soon trailer from the end of the Christmas special. And it just I never went back to it, and I didn't realize that like a lot of the stuff that they had shown in that trailer did not happen in this first half.
I think the reason for that is partially because, I mean, the episodes are filmed way out of order.
Oh.
And the order was even changed during production.
Oh, right.
Where Curse of the Black Spot was moved from being late. I think it was going to be maybe the second episode of this coming run.
Oh.
And then they moved it up. And yeah, so they film way out of order, so they probably had some scenes ready from later episodes, but didn't have scenes ready from less late. earlier episodes.
There you go.
Yes. I just had a sexy moment. Like, I mean, not like a moment of sexiness. I mean, like a moment of the TARDIS in human form forgetting words for temporal concepts. Okay, yeah.
I understood. I did understand, but it was probably good of you to explain.
Thank you for complimenting my explanation. But yeah, I am stoked to see more of Doctor Who.
Yes, and I yeah. And did you see the the thing the prequel thingy?
No.
There's a prequel, like, you know how they did the prequel for The Impossible Astronaut?
They did, and they also did it for Curse of the Black Spot, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yes, they did.
But neither one of those was at all significant or interesting, so I didn't even bother with this one.
Oh, well...
Is it more significant and or interesting?
It's kind of cool.
Oh, man, I like cool. Okay.
Well, it's... See, I wouldn't say that it's... I wouldn't go so far as to say it's significant. It's just, it feels... Well, I guess...
Does it feature any of the four main characters?
It features... Yes, it features the Doctor. It does feature...
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of... Well...
I like him.
Yeah, he's one of the... He's a good guy. He's, It's pretty good. Yeah, okay, anyway. Yeah, it felt kind of dark and sort of mysterious, I guess. Mm. And so I liked it because it sort of... Well, do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
So basically it's... Do you want me to just say what I think of it without actually saying what it is?
No,
do you want me to...
You can go ahead and... You can describe it.
Okay.
I mean...
Well, it starts off being kind of humorous because the very first thing is it's the Doctor's answering machine. Only his recorded message is that, like, he didn't know that he had an answering machine, so he just was, like, saying something. It's funny because he was looking for the breaks. Anyway. But anyway, so it starts off on kind of a humorous note, but then it suddenly becomes serious because it's, like, Amy calling him, asking him, where he is and what's going on and, like, where her baby is. Pertinent questions.
Right.
And, it's basically just it's sort of just showing images of the empty TARDIS console as she's going on and on about this. And then at the very end, you see the Doctor's just kind of there listening to it, and he's obviously didn't answer it. And so it was kind of this, it felt really, like, dark and, sort of... Well, and it was actually set in a very dark TARDIS, which I don't know if that's relevant at all. But it sort of seemed to me like things were not going well, which I like. I like it when things don't go well. No, which I just found really interesting, because it seemed like the half-season cliffhanger ended on kind of a, not positive note, but sort of like promising, like the Doctor's going to sort all this out. And then it's looking like he's not, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird cliffhanger.
Yeah, it kind of was.
It wasn't a cliffhanger in the usual sense of a cliffhanger.
Right.
We got no more two-parters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unless you count Let's Kill Hitler as the second part of a two-parter, which I think some people do. I don't particularly care, because, I mean, it has a different director, and it's like a sort of different story, I guess, from what I understand. But in any case, it's all one-parters.
Really? So even the actual finale of this?
The actual finale, which we have a title for now.
Ooh, do we?
Have you heard that? Yeah,
No,
the titles. The titles have all been announced.
Ooh.
Okay, so we got the Let's Kill Hitler.
Right. I know that one.
Oh, good. And that's Moffat written.
Ah.
Then we got Night Terrors. That one written by Mark Gatiss.
Ah.
An old... well, I don't think he's old, but
well, he's certainly not elderly.
No, not by any means. Unless you're watching The Lazarus Experiment, in which he's elderly.
Well, yes. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Is he the only person ever to write for it and also play a prominent guest role in Doctor Who? I don't know. Someone smarter than me. Tell me these things. I bet he is. But yeah, okay. The next one is called The Girl Who Waited.
Interesting.
Yeah. I find that interesting because that That's something that was said about Amy Pond,
Right.
but it hasn't. I don't think it's something that's been like reiterated
No.
about her this season. It hasn't been like an emphatic part of the way they're talking about her this season.
No, yeah, you're right. I think that, yeah. Because I think the last time they mentioned it was really at the end of Series 5.
Yeah, I would say so.
So that's kind of a thing that's interesting.
And that's written by Tom McRae, who we haven't heard from since the Cyberman two-parter in Series 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I honestly don't remember how much I like those episodes.
I can't really... I don't even remember the last time I watched those episodes.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched some of the David Tennant stuff.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it eventually. I'm planning on watching everything in order.
Ah, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I just started. I just finished An Unearthly Child, so I've got a ways to go. But I'm. My plan is to catch up, quote unquote, by the 50th anniversary, which is, a little more than 2 years away. So
Well,
I've got time.
Yeah. You'll have to get through, like, what? 40-something years of television?
Well, 50. I
mean,
mean,
okay, but
that's the premise.
They took a break in there.
Okay, true. They did.
Now, are you going to also watch the Eighth Doctor movie?
I don't see why not.
Well, okay then. Just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll be watching that Cybermen two-parter in about I don't know, maybe a year and 9 months. I'll let you know what I think of it.
All right.
So yeah, next is The God Complex.
Huh.
By Toby Whithouse.
Oh, he sounds familiar.
He wrote School Reunion and also Vampires of Venice.
Ah, yes. That episode I didn't like.
Yeah, the one you didn't like.
Yep.
A lot of people weren't crazy about that one, I think, but I enjoyed it.
So it was popularly unpopular.
Partially because I like Rory, and that sort of
Oh yeah.
brought him back in.
True. It did do that, didn't it?
And then the next one after that is Closing Time.
Closing Time.
And I'm going to call right off the bat that that's some kind of double entendre involving like an establishment concluding its business hours, as well as like something about time itself closing.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, but that's by Gareth Roberts,
Huh.
who wrote The Shakespeare Code and The Unicorn and the Wasp, and he co-wrote Planet of the Dead, and he wrote The Lodger.
He's rather busy, isn't he?
Well, I mean, he did this over an extended period of time, stretching back to Series 3. And this is going to feature the return of Craig and I want to say Sophie from The Lodger. Are those the characters' names?
Sure. Probably. I don't know.
Those characters.
Those guys.
The dude and the lady.
Yes.
From The Lodger. So yeah, I'm interested to see that and to see whether that's going to tie into the Silence and their mysterious TARDIS.
Yeah. Yeah, I do look forward to finding out more about that.
And I guess we have it confirmed that the Silence are returning, because they were in that one trailer.
Did I see that? I'm sure I saw that trailer.
Yeah, the one trailer that I saw they were in, as well as I think the Cybermen were in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Okay.
Maybe there were other things. Oh, and the last episode, written by Stephen Moffat, it's called The Wedding of River Song.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's a title with some implications.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and that'll air on October 1st.
Huh.
So that's how far out we're looking here.
Oh, wow.
It'll be wrapped up by October.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Time. How about that?
Time can be rewritten.
Yeah.
Except when it can't.
Yeah.
We should make predictions.
We should. I don't really have any predictions.
Well, who do you think River Song is marrying?
Jenny.
Then I'm going to go with neither. I got to go with neither.
All right, then.
One of these days, it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good.
You know, I think the obvious answer is the Doctor, and that might just be the right one.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, because, you could... Yeah, because that's been, implied, a lot.
But maybe they... it's been implied that she's his wife. Perhaps something at the wedding goes wrong, and they don't get married, and she accidentally kills him instead.
Oh, good fun.
And you know what? I'm inclined to say that this finale is going to be when we revisit that lake with a much older Doctor.
Yes.
Or maybe not. Maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Because, the Doctor has 6 episodes to age 200 years.
If anyone can do it, the Doctor can.
Yeah. Well, I think I actually might have said in our discussion of Let's Kill Hitler... No, I'm sorry, in our discussion of A Good Man Goes to War, I think I would not be surprised if when we pick up with the Doctor in Let's Kill Hitler, he is several hundred years older.
Yeah.
And several hundred years closer to that lake.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I think that would make sense.
It's actually kind of similar to the beginning of The End of Time, when we meet the 10th Doctor, who is... a significant amount of time has passed since the waters of Mars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Just the same old crap over and over, Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can't they do anything original? God.
So yeah, River's totally the person in the spacesuit who kills the Doctor.
Yeah, totally.
Because they're having a space-themed wedding. An astronaut-themed wedding.
Yeah. That's what the groom usually tells, the guests at the wedding is, whatever happens, whatever, I don't even remember what he said, but yeah, no, that's totally a thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're wedding invitations.
Oh, of course.
Oh man, but actually I'm not even kidding about that. I think that might have something to do with, because like invitations, you think of weddings.
That's true, actually. Yeah, now that you say that, that actually sounds pretty legitimate.
I don't think it makes that much sense, but maybe it will.
Well, but they're fancy. They're fancy.
Yeah, they are fancy.
What else do you have fancy invitations for? Like, not a birthday.
Yeah, you don't.
Birthdays happen every year.
And like Rory says in The Impossible Astronaut, something about who invites people to their own wake. No one. But who invites people to their wedding? People who are getting married. That's who.
There you go.
Yeah, we just figured it out.
Yeah, we did. I don't even think we need to watch the season of Doctor Who.
Yeah, let's not bother. We'll pick up with whatever happens after, because we don't know whether there's going to be a full series 7.
All right then.
Yeah, we still have no idea. I think we might have talked to this in the Good Man Goes to War podcast about the fact that 14 episodes have been commissioned, but no one has any idea when they're airing.
Right, because yes, we did talk about that. I think.
Good.
Yeah, but that's gonna be interesting. And I think I said this, back then. I would prefer to not have them spread out. I like my 14 episodes, 14 weeks in a row. I like that, and I think that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't really had any revelations on that since then, so I was just pretty much saying the same thing I said all those months ago.
So yeah, predictions. How will they get out of the Doctor dying?
I don't think they will. I think that the show's just gonna end. It's gonna be it. We're gonna just
okay.
pack up all their bags and Stephen Moffat's gonna find a new job.
Well, I'm thinking maybe maybe we've legitimately seen the end of the 11th Doctor.
Really? That's possible.
And he's announced to stay for Series 7 in whatever form it might take, and I don't doubt that. But it might be that by the end of this series, we will not have completely solved the mystery of what happens on that fateful day at Lake what's its name in Utah. The lake has a name, I just don't remember what it is.
Yeah, was it ever actually said in the episode? I don't think it was.
No, but I think I've heard Moffat say something, or I don't know.
Okay.
It's got some really dopily significant name. Lake Death or something. Or no, it's Lake Silence, I think.
Oh, really?
Or Lake Silencio.
Oh. Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay.
But yeah, so but I wouldn't be surprised if just how Series 5 left several things dangling. Series 6 leaves that dangling, and that is the regeneration that we will not revisit until the 50th anniversary, which is when Matt Smith and Stephen Moffat will both leave.
That is... that's very interesting. I could actually see that happening.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be surprised if the 50th anniversary is obviously going to be some kind of big event,
right?
And Russell T Davies and David Tennant both left with a big event,
right?
And I don't see any reason why Stephen Moffat and Matt Smith would do differently,
right?
Unless Matt Smith just has a really strong desire to continue playing the character. Or Stephen Moffat has a really strong desire to continue writing. But I mean, they both have to leave eventually, and if I were them, I would be thinking of that as a good time to make a spectacular exit.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah. So yeah, my theory is that we're going to revisit the Doctor's death at the end of this series, but we won't completely solve it. And in fact, we still will have an earlier version of the Doctor, pre-death, that will be the star of Series 7.
Yeah. I think that sounds, that actually sounds pretty good.
Thank you. Thank you. But it would be really cool if we met the 12th Doctor.
That would be really cool, actually.
I would really enjoy that.
That'd be awesome. But, that's, okay, so, back when, I forget what the episode was before Journey's End, but, when people were talking about, are we gonna, is this it? Is this the end for the...
Oh, the Stolen Earth.
Oh, Stolen Earth, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't, seems to me like they couldn't really... I mean, back then it seemed like they can't keep this under wraps. Likewise, I don't think they could really keep the 12th Doctor under wraps.
They kept the 10th Doctor under wraps.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I thought I thought it was announced beforehand.
No, it was announced that he was regenerating, or that he was leaving the show.
Oh.
But the identity of the new actor was kept under wraps.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah. Well, I take it all back then. Maybe.
And also, even before The Runaway Bride, Catherine Tate was a household name in the UK, and they kept her appearance at the end of Doomsday. I believe that was also kept under wraps.
Huh.
So they have done things like that before.
Oh, well, all right. Well, I take it all back.
I think it would be pretty cool if the 12th Doctor was a recurring character throughout the 11th Doctor's final season.
That would actually be really cool.
I would like that.
That would be very, very interesting. Because, I mean, they've done... obviously they've done things there's, the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors. They've done things like that. It was... Now, I do have the numbers right. I know that there was an episode of the 5 Doctors, but...
Yes,
3
there was
there was also a 2 Doctors, I think, right?
Yeah, there was.
Okay. Well, anyway, You know,
got them all.
All right, awesome. You know, and then and then every other episode is the One Doctor. But
Well, there was also a Big Finish audio play called The One Doctor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And there was also a book called The Infinity Doctors.
Uh-huh.
So we got all our bases covered. Our numerical bases. Which means something other than what I'm saying.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so anyway, that would be something different, though, to have just, you know, the next Doctor, and not like in the sense of the next Doctor where it was David Morrissey just being some guy who thought he was the Doctor. Anyway,
Right.
you know, yeah, that would be cool if it was the actual next Doctor.
And I'm only talking about it because I think it's a cool idea, not an idea that I think will actually happen.
Right, no. But I think that would be something cool for them to do.
Yeah.
And now I really wish they would do that.
I've actually wished that for a while.
Oh, really?
Like I've just thought it would be really cool if we genuinely met a future version of the Doctor. Although that's logistically difficult because you'd be casting someone for a guest role and you'd have to have the understanding that they later come back in a regular role, and I don't know whether that makes career sense for an actor.
Yeah.
Maybe it does, I don't know.
But it's definitely cool storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the logistics of it would get a little hairy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, I think we've adequately expressed our excitement.
I agree.
Are there any other baseless areas of speculation that we could comment on? Like,
not that I can think of.
anyone you think might be a ganger?
No.
Okay, I think we're done then. Okay. River Song is a ganger. Would that be significant if River Song was a ganger?
I don't think so. Unless she is also pregnant.
You know, there were people who were speculating in The Impossible Astronaut that she might be.
Oh, right.
Because she was feeling sick.
Right.
And that was the first hint that Amy was pregnant.
Right. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
There were also people who were speculating that she and Amy were pregnant with one another.
Well, turned out to be half right.
I guess. Let's wrap this episode of The Cloister Room up.
Okay.
I think we decided that we weren't going to tell them things anymore.
That's right. We're just going to leave them in the dark.
We can just tell them to go to thecloisterroom.com.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Because I actually had this planned where I was going to be like, Lewis, tell them where they can follow us on Twitter. And you'd be like, you can follow him on Twitter at T. Dickinson. And I'd be like, no, you're wrong. Because I changed my Twitter username.
Right.
Yeah.
You did that.
To Now We Are All Tom. And what's yours, Lewis? Just so the people know.
It's Mila's Belly.
I've now gotten us into like doing this.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm gonna go all the way and say that the Cloister Room has its own Twitter at the Cloister Room. I think that's all that matters.
It really is. I mean, we do have an email address, but email is so antiquated.
No one ever uses it, and I don't think anyone ever will. Spammers use it. They already have it, so they don't need it.
All right.
So we're gonna try to put out an episode every week. Including next week when we'll be talking about Let's Kill Hitler, and I will probably be caught up on Torchwood.
All right.
So we can look forward to that.
Yes, we can.
Good. Until then, I will continue to be Tom.
Yeah, I'm Lewis.
And you will have been listening to The Cloister Room. Goodbye.
See ya.